welcome to the final time, as some cars go past on the track, to Picko's Pit Walk, the final preview for this weekend's title decided of the London E-Prix. In 48 hours time, one of Jake Dennis, Nick Cassidy, Mitch Evans or Pascal Wehrlein will be a Formula E champion for the very first time. Now, a bit of housekeeping. You are watching this, hopefully after free practice 1, but before free practice 2. If you're watching this a week from Thursday, shame on you. No, so basically we're doing that, but just because our beloved editor Ed is coming to the race this weekend, and so we're getting all the Friday stuff out the way as soon as possible. So yeah, let's get on with it. We will first talk, we'll head down the pit lane as usual, and we will talk about Apt, who are last in the team's championship, but not surprising after the season that they've had. They came into the season not really ready for this year, but yeah, they weren't ready, and that's prompted Robin Freins to depart the team after just a single season. It's looking like he's heading back to Envision, and there's no love lost at all, because Robin has described this car as a more naughty version of a poo box, similar to what Niki Lauda called the Ferrari in Rush, if you've seen that film. If you haven't, go watch it, because it's a banging film. But however, he is very impressed about how Apt pulled together as a team over this year. But yeah, not enough for him to stay. Right, we move on to DS Penske. We chatted to Stoff. I say we, it was Jack. And basically, it has been a really, really difficult title defence for him. The only top 6 I think he's had was in Jakarta, where he finished 4th. So yeah, it's just been a difficult one. First off, Jev just fell out of the title fight mathematically after the end of the Rome E-Prix. We will move on to Neo, and if you watch the interviews from Neo, you will have seen that Dan Ticktum said that the power here is going to be very low, and so we're not hedging our bets in terms of we're going to do very well. And it is extremely low. There's 27 kilowatts of power for both Saturday and Sunday's race, which, to put that into perspective, one Gen 1 car, so the Gen 1 car that did half the race distance, was 28 kilowatts of power. That's just extraordinary how they've kind of dramatically reduced it. We've been going in and around like 40 kilowatts per hour. I think it was 37 in Rome, but 27. We know that London isn't very, you don't need much energy to do this race, but even then, that's a hell of a load. However, if they get the qualifying right, they should, touch wood, to be able to get some sort of a result this weekend. Maybe the odd point or two. I believe they are just ahead of Mahindra. I think it's a point. There's a point difference in the championship once Dan got those 2 points at the end of the second Rome E-Prix, and then Sergio obviously got some points on the Friday as well. So yeah, who knows? It will be very, very hard. It will be very, very hard, and it all depends on how well Mahindra do this weekend as well. Right, we'll chat about them in a bit. However, Nissan, and happy birthday Sasha Fenestras. The team have really come on in the last few races as well. Norman getting the second in Rome, and it's kind of been a bit like a slow burner. They started kind of lost a bit. However, as the season's gone on, they've actually progressed fantastically, and they are in a battle with McLaren in the championship as well. Their customer team, and so that's going to be very close. Whereas Nissan have had like an upwards trajectory, McLaren have had a downwards one, so that's going to be a very close one. Actually, Jack, if you spin round, you'll be able to see the balloons above Sasha Fenestras' car for his birthday. That's a nice little touch that I only realised halfway round. Right, let's What?
Reckon these are his party guests.
Oh yeah, no, all these people, they're not here for like signing or anything. This is Sasha's 20, I don't know. I walked myself into that one. That was bad of me. 20 something birthday. Happy 20 whatever. Right, Mahindra. And they are in this battle for 9th with Neo, and it's going to be very, very close whether or not they do get it or not, and they need points this weekend. And if they qualify well and stay there, then yeah, it's possible. But they haven't done either recently, which is very concerning. I will say also about Mahindra, Lucas knew that it was going to be difficult coming into the season, and so yeah, this is little project now. This is a little project. We've kind of known about this, but his project is to turn this team around from the, well, is this the lowest Mahindra's ever been in the championship? I can't remember them being this low down, which is a shame. However, I will say on behalf of myself and Jack, we had the best time on Tuesday going go-karting, where I won the 2nd tier race. So I won the races for slow people, and Jack just missed out on a podium in the race for quick people. So I want to say I had the better day, but I'm not sure. He didn't even know about it until when did I tell you about it? Monday. I told you about it on Monday because I kept it very kind of low key. But he wanted to do an FEZ show on Tuesday, and I said I can't because I'm going karting with Lucas. And yeah, he found out at that point. That's another point. No, there hasn't been an FEZ show since so yeah, sorry about that. But there will be some over the weekend in person as well, which is good. Right. So, Porsche, and even though Pascal Wehrlein has a very faint chance at this championship, he is not going for it. I'm panicking now because the cars are coming past on the straight, so I'm just thinking, oh no, one of them's in pit lane. They're not. Everything's fine. But still, Pascal Wehrlein focusing on the team's championship, not the driver's championship, because that's more attainable. For Pascal to have a shot at winning the Drivers' Championship, he basically needs to have the best weekend ever. Even Mitch, who's 3rd in the title at the moment, said he needs both race wins and a miracle for them to do well this weekend and try and get that title. But yeah, strange stuff has happened in Formula E. So who knows? Right, this is their. I feel like I've joined this group now, which is fun, so I'm just going to pull to one side and let them through while we talk about Andretti, the customer team to Porsche, who Jake Dennis has had a phenomenal season and has one hand on this championship. However, he has said don't expect the same as what we've seen the last few years, because it's a different powertrain. Yes, in Rome, we saw Jaguar do very well from year to year, but that's Jaguar's the constant. Whereas Andretti have switched their powertrain suppliers from last year to this year because BMW are no longer in this series. So that's why he's kind of like pumping the brakes on this hope that he's going to do extremely well this weekend. So the ball is firmly in his court, but he just wants everyone just to chill a little bit. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves on where the championship is. If Nick Cassidy wins tomorrow and Jake finishes 4th, the championship's down to something like 11, 12 points or something like that. So yeah, who knows? He feels good coming into this weekend. However, in his quali group tomorrow, he's got both Jaguars. And he feels like it's going to be quite hard, but he's been performing well in qualifying this year. So, yeah, it will be. There's a fair possibility in Formula E. He's just had a very kind of mid-season, unfortunately. But yeah, we will move on to from the drivers' champion elect to the team's champion-elect. Envision are the team that have 14 points over Tag Heuer Porsche in the championship. I think it's 14. It's 13 or 14. Can't remember which. But Nick is saying rather positive. Even though it's this 24-point gap at the top of the table, he still thinks that as long as he has a good result tomorrow, there's a fair chance that that he can still be in the fight come Sunday. And I think basically the vibe around the paddock is, as long as it's not wrapped up by tomorrow, then it's kind of all right. We love a last day showdown. Formula E has had it on all but 2 occasions. It was Verne in season 4 and Da Costa in season 6. Apart from that, every single title has gone down to the final day of the season. Buemi is kind of ruined the mistakes that happened earlier in the year. Obviously, he got a podium in Hyderabad taken off him because of a power overuse, I think it was, if my memory serves me correctly, and that would have put him right in the fight with Nick. And I feel like they would have been focusing on both sides of the team. As it was, Nick became the main focus, and he was unlucky in Rome to have that accident with Mitch. But yeah, we will move on to Jaguar now, and it's very much deja vu. Mitch Evans, for the second year in a row, comes into the final weekend in a 4-way shootout where one person has a huge advantage and the other 3, including himself, have a very, very slight chance at this championship. It's possible. It's possible. Because we saw what happened last year in Seoul. Seoul was the last race last year, and he got the win on the Saturday, but it wasn't enough on the Sunday. So who knows? We like to say everything will happen in Formula E, but it might just be a bit too much for the likes of Evans and Wehrlein. But Nick Cassidy, I'd say he's got more of a chance. Sam, obviously, it's his final. It's looking likely to be his final race here before he moves on, and it's his home race. Obviously, he's coming off a good result in Rome. So yeah, it's a genuine possibility that he could do well this weekend. I chatted to him about attack mode because obviously we've got a new section. If you haven't seen anything, so basically they're doing some construction work, I think it is, around that area. So they've changed the part of the circuit. The attack mode is a lot less of a penalty this year than it was to last. However, he still thinks that he could lose up to about a second around that bit. So yeah, we're almost there. Maserati, and you've got to think, could Max Günther have been in the title fight? He didn't score a single point until we got to Berlin too, and the run that he's been on, I reckon he could have had that performance come a little bit earlier. It would have been it could have been Max Günther in that fight as well. As it was, unfortunately, he's now in this fight for 5th with Jev, but considering from where they were at going into Berlin, they only had 3 points. They're now 6th in the championship. I don't think they're on the coattails of DS Penske, but they've solidly got 6th, which is good for them. Edo will be quite buoyant after his best finish of the year last time out in Rome. So yeah, potentially a good weekend for a team that's been performing quite well of late, which leaves us with McLaren. And this is actually really interesting for McLaren because obviously they need to focus on the team's championship. They're fighting with their suppliers, Nissan. But one thing that they've had most of the season is they can drive straight out of pit lane. Everything's fine and dandy. They don't lose much practice time. But because all the cars, they all leave the garage at the same time, they all back up. It means that that if you're down towards the end of the field, you don't get, you miss out on a solid like minute and a half, because everyone's like backing up trying to get space. So you're missing out on this track time. So even being one garage along is huge. So that's their aims for this weekend. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll be here over the course of the weekend. We've got FEZ shows and everything going on. My voice is going, so I'm going to stop now, and we will see you over the weekend.